So, welcome back to American Textbook Reading. Do you hear me well? Did you hear me? What did I say? Do you know what did I say? Do you hear my sound? That's what we're gonna talk about today. Today's lesson is about sounds. What are some kinds of sounds? It can be this Optimus Prime truck on my hand. It can transform. Oops. There. This Optimus Prime truck can make a sound. That is a kind of sound. So today's lesson is about sound. The first thing I'm going to talk about is sound. What is sound anyway? Sound is kind of like the vibration that people make. It's kind of like a vibration. That kind of vibration is called a sound. Some sounds can be like these musical instruments that I have here. Look at these musical instruments. Can you see this? It has, looks like it has a piano. It also has a bell. It can have fan. It can have a kind of a thing like this. This is a violin. This is a trumpet. This is a guitar. This is a drum set. There are many types of sounds. Can you hear a sound? You can hear it above me. What is that kind of sound? That kind of sound is it is called a fan. It's a fan. So, now the next word we're going to talk about is vibration. Vibration is also a kind of sound. So, as this truck goes, it is vibrating. It's vibrating a boom boom sound. So it's vibrating using its natural sound. Or you can hear the footstep of people, like this. You can hear the footstep of people. Can you hear my footsteps? I'm stomping in the ground. Or you can even hear a bell ringing. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. So the bell can even ring to make a sound that vibrates to our ears. So how does the sound vibrate to our ears? Do you know that? If you look closely, you can see that it looks just like when a fan blows or a truck moves. After your motorcycle is running, and then you can hear the sound of the engine. So why is that? When you are driving your motorcycle and it goes and when you stop it says then why is that? That is because when the sound is made, it travels to thin air and it travels faster. So when you hear a train, the train sound goes faster than the train. But the jet's sound goes slower than the jet. Do you know why? Because the jet is so fast. And then, zoo, so we're going here. Beep. You can only hear that sound. You can't hear boom, 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 boom. That's a sound that you can hear. But it goes beep. But real sound is zing, 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 zing. Its real sound is that. But it's not. It's normal sound when it goes zzz. It's not its normal sound. So that's how jets or airplanes or any other vehicle makes the sound so we can hear. Let me change this. Let me change the style of my shirt. I think that's better. So now we're going to talk about some kinds of musical instruments. It could be violins. It can also be trumpets. It can also be bells. It can also be pianos. It can also be drums. It can also be guitars. It can also be fans. It can also be our feet. It can also be our hands. It can also be so there are many kinds of musical instruments. Some are musical instruments, but they do not show sounds. But they do not show music. They do sound like musical instruments, but they are not musical instruments. They just sound like them. Like, I sound like meow, meow, a cat. So that's the sound of the cat. What about this? Ooh, that's a wolf. So each animal has its different sound. The sound of the fox goes, ruff, ruff. The sound of the dog goes, the sound of the puppy goes, ruff, ruff, ruff. The sound of the big dog goes, ruff, ruff, ruff. So that was the sound of the dog goes. Everything has its different sound. Just like the sound of the dog I just told it about, it goes ruff, 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 ruff. Or you can have any sound. So I'm having my sound. Every time I grow older, like when I'm a baby, I cannot talk. When I'm a toddler, I learn how to talk. When I'm a child, I have a different kind of, I can have a different kind of speech or my different kind of voice when I'm a baby or a toddler. Then I become a teen. Why is it called teen? Because sometimes it can go 13, 14, 15, or 14-ager, 15-ager, 16-ager. So that's why they call them a teen, a teenager. Then after that, I grow to an adult. So here's my voice when I'm an adult. So when I'm adult, I'm fully grown. I'm fully grown. So let me erase it. This is my special eraser I'm using. magnetic. I'm using a magnetic magic towel. Why is it called a magic towel? I'll show you. And under the chair, here's the magic towel. So now let's do more of our sounds. Let's do the questions. Are you ready for some of the questions? The questions can be, the first question will be a very hard question. So you need to know what the question is in order to answer it. It can be a question that belongs in the speaking section or not. So there are 4 different ways. So that's how you do it. Then, now, let's look at this. The next question. The next question is, instruments can make different sounds when they have different ways. Is it true or false? As you know, it is false. So instruments can be the same in different ways? No, it can't be in different ways because some can have the same ways. Like we most likely play the guitar as same as the violin. So it can't be true. Or we can most likely play the drum, play the horn, most likely like a trumpet. So that's what it's called. So we can also have a bell. The bell is different from the other instruments. It sounds ding dong, ding dong. It's like a doorbell, but the doorbell isn't a musical instrument. A bell is most likely, people call it a musical instrument. So now let's do the review of the vocabulary. The first vocabulary word we talk about is sound. What is sound? Is sound something we hear? Is sound a vibration? Or is sound a value? What is it? As you know, a sound is a vibration. Like I'm making my sound like this. I'm making a sound by hitting the table using the towel, and the effect of it is I'm making the sound vibrate to my ears like this. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? So that's how the sound vibrates. It vibrates very hard. So now let's answer a few more questions. The other few more questions will be very easy, but you need to listen carefully in order to solve them. So let me write down those 2 questions. So, what's wrong in this in this picture. Here it goes out, and so you need to listen carefully in order to solve it. Like I made a very easy question, but you need to listen carefully in order to solve that easy question. Just like for the questions we need to answer, you need to listen carefully and then you can solve it. So the first question is, volume can be soft or loud. So volumes can be soft, or loud. Volume can be soft or loud. We have to put S. So it is true or false? Is it true or false? As you know, it is true. And you X away false. Now let's do the second question. The second question is, pitch can be high or low. Is it true or is it false? As you know, it is false. It can be low, high, loud, and soft. So it can be true. Now, let me erase it. Make me a little second, then I'll erase it. Bye. Let me erase the whiteboard. If you want to teach this, but you don't have a whiteboard, you can just change your camera and then you can just teach it on your small mini board, your mini board, or your mini blackboard. You can use chalk, you can use markers, you can use pens, you can use pencils, you can use anything you want. But you need a different kind of paper. But you can't use cardboard because I think you can use cardboard, but I think you can't. So now, have you enjoyed the vocabulary and all the things that I taught you about? There are different kinds of sounds. It can be "ow," it can be meow, meow, it can be roof, 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 it can be ruff, 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 it can be chip, chip. So there are lots of kinds of words or sounds on the world. So now let's take a short break and come back and do the speaking section. So don't go away. So now let's do the speaking section. But first, before we start with the reading section, I need to tell you something. Someone coughed. It was in my computer. So forget about that. It will cough another time. So now let's answer this first warning I need to tell you. This warning is about, as always, read along with me or in your mind so you could practice the pronunciation and also the vocabulary to learn it with me. So now let's do it. there are sounds all around the world. Sounds is a kind of energy. It's a kind of energy that just like makes sounds. That energy is called vibrations. Vibrations can be like when you are singing or when you are, it can be when you're singing or it can be when you are clapping your hands and dancing. Your feet are moving. So just like that. So, or you can also have things like this. Sounds are energies that make different kinds of vibrations. Those vibrations are not only dancing and singing, but it can be a sound of a truck, a sound of a motorbike, a sound of a car, a sound of a helicopter, a sound of a jet, a sound of an airplane, a sound of a TV, a sound of a computer, a sound of a person, a sound of a heavy thing when you drop it to the ground, the sound of your chair, the sound of the sound of the bike when you crash onto the wall. So there are many types of things or vibrations that you have. So now let's do the speaking comprehension questions. The first speaking comprehension question is, there are many types of vibrations. What can vibrations be? They can be beep, 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 and beep. So we need to fill in the beeps or the blanks. So now the first beep, excuse me, the first beep is the word. It can be dance. The next beep, it can be a wolf's howl. Woo! And the third one, it can be a fox's bark. And the fourth one, it can be a human's body. Just like you're listening to me. Ba 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 ba. La 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 la. So you can hear me. That is the sound that I'm making. And I'm a kind of vibration. So now, did you enjoy the lesson about vibrations or sounds? Vibrations are sounds that are very high, and also those vibrations can be very fun and teach you many things. So you can ask a grown-up if you are asking them what are vibrations. If they don't know, then you can always listen again and then tell them what is sound. So now, goodbye, take care, and see you next time. See you in the next lesson. Take care.